Hello, my name is Miriam and I love books. Like my channel name says, in 2021 I have challenged myself to read 365 books, and every week I post a weekly wrap-up video in which I tell you about the books I read in the past week. And when I say the past week, I mean from Saturday till Friday, so this week's weekly wrap-up video is about the books I read from Saturday the 15th of May until Friday the 21st of May. I read 6 books, which still isn't the average 7 I need to accomplish my goal, but it's better than the week before because I read only 4 books in the past week, and I really hope I can pull this off, but my goal is to be back on track when you see this video. So that's Monday evening, so I'll have the entire weekend because it's now Friday afternoon. Well, before I dive into the books I read in the past week, I have a confession to make. Last Thursday I posted a book haul video, and I really liked posting that video. In that video I said that I would not buy any new books until until I read all these books and some other books. And well, I bought 15 new books since I put that video up. I bought 13 books second hand, so that does not really count because like 7 of those 13 books I already read but want to have, well, on my bookshelves. And the other 2 new books, one of them I have to use for a project, and another one is a book I already read. I told you about this book before, Memories of Glass. I thought that book was beautiful, so I wanted to have my own copy as well. And now I'm going to buy one more book this week because this week it's the Dutch National Book Week starts. Books Week? I don't know how to say it. Anyway, everything is themed books and you get a free book when you buy a book. And Christian bookstores give you a Christian free book. That sounds weird. But a book by a Dutch Christian writer. And I know the writer who wrote the gift you get, and I really want to read her book. It's usually a novella that's not really big, so novellas are always welcome. So this Wednesday I'm going to buy another book, and then I've made a deal with myself that I'm not allowed to buy books for 50 days. And if I get through that quite easily and I'm still I still have quite a lot of reading material and I don't really need to buy a new book for a project, then I will add another 25 days. I think 50 days without buying a book is already a record for me. I'm not entirely sure, but I think so. Anyway, that's what I had to say about new books. I don't know whether I will do a book haul video on the secondhand books I got. Maybe I'll just tell you in a video that I got the book secondhand. We'll see about that. Like I said, I read 6 books in the past week, and the first book I finished was The Memory House by Rachel Hauck. I think that was about the 3rd book I read that's written by Rachel Hauck, and I had sort of mixed feelings. I really liked the writing style, I really liked the characters in the book, but some things were a bit predictable and I did not like all the storylines. I'm sorry, I'm really irritated by this tiny hair thing that does not do what I want. I'll just tuck it here. The second book I finished was a Dutch original, Verlangen, naar, vrijheid by Jorieke Eijlers, I think. I don't know how to say her name. That was a beautiful book on, well, what was it about? I do know what it was about. It was the author of this book suffered from a burnout a couple of years ago, and she wrote down her experience and she based it on a biblical storyline of the people of Israel who are led out of Egypt, and the whole storyline when they go through the desert and about that, and it was really interesting and I learned a great deal from it. The previous Sunday, so the Sunday of this weekly wrap-up video, so not yesterday but the week before that, I finished 3 books, and this was the 3rd book I finished, More Than We Can Tell by Brigid Kemmerer. It's a sort of sequel to Letters to the Lost, because in this book it's about the best friend of one of the main characters from Letters to the Lost. I thought this story was really interesting. There are 2 main characters, Rev and Emma, and I liked Emma's stories. She's a gamer, she has designed her own game, but things go wrong in that. And Rev is a very complicated character. He has been through a lot, and you read a bit about that in Letters to the Lost, but I thought this book was... No, not the book, but his story was heartbreaking. Emma's story was a bit more basic. I think that's not really nice to say, but well, we've all read stories about teenagers with divorced parents, and that was not really interesting, but Rev's story on the other hand, it was amazing. There was one thing, for some reason I thought that Letters to the Lost and this book take place in the UK, but it ended to be the USA, so I was a bit confused when suddenly I read about traveling to a different state. I was like, but you're in the UK, there are no different states there, and then I realized, oh, it's not the UK. So, but I would highly recommend this book, it's beautiful. The next book I read is also one I would definitely recommend. Angel Falls by Kristin Hannah. So far I've read 4 books by Kristin Hannah. I liked 3 of them. One of them I did not really like, but Angel Falls was, yeah, it was really interesting to read. It wasn't as good as The Nightingale or I can't remember the title of the other book. I do know the Dutch title, but I can't think of the English title. I'll just put it in the description. Anyway, those books were definitely the best, and Angel Falls did not really... well, it was good, but not as good as the other 2. But I would still recommend it to you. Next I read Droomkind, a Dutch original by Sjaak Verboom. This is one of those novellas you get in the book week thingy. This one was from 2008, and I actually bought it in the second-hand stack of books I talked about at the beginning of this video, mainly because I know the author of this book. He's also a photographer, and well, to say I know him quite well is a bit weird because I've only met him once, but he actually took photos for the cover images of 2 of my books, and when I had an interview for a newspaper about my job as a writer, he also took pictures of me, and it's such a lovely guy, and his photography is amazing, and also the book was really interesting, especially the twist at the end. It was amazing, and because it was a novella, I finished it in one evening. I think it took me half an hour. Yeah, it was definitely a great book to read. I actually read Droomkind as a distraction from the other book I was reading, The Myth of Perpetual Summer. I heard great stories about this book. I think that's why I added it to my TBR. But yeah, I wasn't really disappointed, but it was, I don't know. It was, sometimes you have these books and if you're done, you're wondering, why have I read this book? Not because it's really bad, but just, it's not good either. It's just a book you could have done without. I think, yeah. I'm just struggling to express what I thought of this book, but I would not really recommend it to people. The pacing in the book was slow, and personally I think there were too many topics the author dealt with, and for that reason she could not go into detail on certain topics, and I think that's what actually made the book feel not really good. And that was it. Those were the 6 books I finished in the past week. I managed to get a bit further in my audiobook, but still I have quite a lot of hours to listen. And I'm also reading a non-fiction book, and I'm almost done with that one as well, so it shouldn't be too difficult to get back on track. You'll hear more about it in next week's weekly wrap-up video, and while you're here, let me know what book are you currently reading and would you recommend it to me. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up, and if you want to follow me on my journey where I try to read 365 books, then subscribe to my channel, and as always, happy reading.